Hi guys, my name is Sean and I am an indie developer. Welcome to the first video of my new devlog series for my game Wild Paws. So what is Wild Paws? Wild Paws is a third-person kind of adventure game where you play as a lost dog. You have to travel across the country through different varying terrains like forests, mountains, snow, desert, city, etc. on your journey trying to find your home. It is developed in Unreal Engine 4. Today I'm just going to cover some of the things I've implemented so far and just give you a sort of rough idea of sort of where it's going to go next. But before I do any of that, if you're interested in following along, make sure to subscribe. And if you have any ideas or any questions or anything like that, feel free to just leave them in a comment below. Yeah, so let's just get into it. Alright guys, so currently we're in my little test level. So this is just what I use for adding new features, just testing things. Currently, we have a dog. Now I'm just using a toon dog model at the moment, just so I can get in the game, get things moving. Once I decide exactly what I'm going to do in terms of the model, and how I want to do it, we'll sort of get a little bit more in depth there. And but for now this is just a placeholder. It currently has sort of an idle animation. It can jump, looks a bit awkward, and we can move around too, so turns a bit funny. It's a little bit weird. There's no IK or anything like that at the moment. It's all very basic, so you can run as well. Follow him around. You know, he works like a dog. Just a very stiff and awkward looking dog, but nonetheless, it is a dog. I'll come over here. So one of the latest things I implemented was this pickup. Throughout the game, you will need to get food and water. That is sort of part of the game as a design. You will get hungry and thirsty. You need to find food and water. Food, you might be able to find it out in the wilderness. Otherwise, you might need to steal it from a NPC that's not watching their burger, or a butcher that has left some meat out the front. Yeah, so you will get hungry. I don't know exactly how I'm going to implement that yet, but if you don't eat, you will eventually, so you won't have health, so to say. It'll be more like energy. And once you run out of energy, you won't be able to do some things like sprinting and things like that. And eventually you will die, so to say. In terms of getting food, I wanted to make it a little bit more interesting than simply just finding it. So in some circumstances, it won't be too easy to get. You have to steal it from, like an NPC or something like that. But when you do pick it up, you will have to evade whoever it is that it sort of owns that particular item. So they'll chase you, and you have to get away from them. If they catch you, then they just take it off you and you don't get any food. If we jump back in here, currently we've just knocked the steak over. So if I go over here and I press E, you can pick the steak up, dog has it in its mouth. We're going to need a name for our friend here. If anyone's got any suggestions. So currently it looks a bit funny. Obviously there's no animations or anything like that. Now you can walk around with it, you can run with it if you like. And if you don't want it anymore, we can drop it again. Well, it looks a bit funny, and if we get up again, we can do that. So the idea is that you won't be able to just run and eat it at the same time. So eating it will, so currently if I press R with this particular thing, you can consume it. So it'll just, all it does is it destroys it, adds a little bit of like health, so to say, at the moment, and it displays this very crude message on the screen, which does not go away at the moment, so I'm just going to escape out of that. Eventually though, it will, depending on what it is, how big the food item is, it may take X amount of seconds to actually eat it. So you need to be able to find somewhere where you evade whoever it is long enough that you can actually consume the food as well. So that is that. For the actual pickups themselves, because there will be other items that you can pick up that are not food. So I've created like a base pickup class, which essentially just has currently 2 main blueprint interface events. that are triggered from the player overlapping them and you pressing some kind of input key. So currently this one's just the main interacting one, so we're just checking to see if is this an item that can be picked up. Obviously if it can't be picked up then we're not going to do anything. Does the player already have it? If it doesn't, turn physics off and collision off. You need to in Unreal you need to reattach the mesh to the actual scene root. Otherwise weird things happen. And then we're basically just attaching it to the socket on the player character's mesh, which in this case is like a mouth. And then setting this variable so that next time you try and interact with it, and you currently do have it, it will then just detach it from the player essentially, so it will fall back down on the ground. If we try and eat it, so to say, whatever it is, currently we're just checking to see if it's edible. If it is, obviously if it's not edible you can't eat it, then we're basically just giving the player some health at the moment and then adding an on-screen message and destroying the actor. So nothing special at the moment. The way I've currently got it set up is just so I can create children of the base class and then just modify them, add different meshes, etc. And then we go back to our stake over here. So it will have different like defaults, so can it be picked up? I should really group these actually into better categories. So the amount of food points given. Debug just displays a message on the screen over the side. Like I said, there are other items that can be picked up. Some of them are just for fun, just because it's just cool to pick things up. I thought it'd be cool at least. So over here we have this, what's meant to be a tennis ball, but it's currently just a fluorescent green orb. So we can pick that up. And we can walk around with it, same as usual. We can throw it, and I've lost the orb. So yeah, if we pick it up. Now the idea with the ball, and I'm currently in the process of making a stick as well. So there will be some NPCs in the world where if you walk up to them with a ball and you drop it, then they will pick it up and throw it for you. So you can play fetch, except you will be the dog in this. So that's something I'm working on at the moment, just because it was fun. Hopefully the next video will actually be me going through how I create the NPC that throws the ball. Maybe next week, but it is also Christmas, so we'll see how that goes. So I'll show you really quickly. Okay, so this is currently just a little work in progress mock-up of the sort of grasslands, like woodland, forest area of the game, which will sort of be towards the beginning. Obviously all these buildings are the same. I'm just sort of mocking up where things are going to be, but just gives you a general feel. There is actually some fog. It is going to be somewhat foggy. A little bit too much fog actually, but yeah, the general idea. These little white sugar cube looking things, they are just they're just plain square static meshes that I actually use as a visual guide as to the different height of sort of pathways that I make. So I just find so they're all exactly the same height on the Z axis, and if you drag them around it helps visualize the change in elevation between one section to another. To me at least, it just helps. So this particular little area will eventually be sort of a small village where you will get your first, or you'll come across the first sort of NPC that'll give you a sort of some objectives to do before providing you with sort of information on where to go next, etc. So now that 4.26 has been released, I actually do plan on adding some actual rivers, which will be pretty cool. So stay tuned for that. Like, each landscape itself is designed to be pretty large. The general idea is that there will be a lot of exploration, and you will need to find clues on sort of where you need to go next. There won't really be much of a map, so to say. I mean, dogs don't have maps. I sort of have a bit of an idea for a little bit of a dog sense. There won't be so much of a mini map or anything like that. It kind of tells you where you've got to go. The landscapes themselves, I do plan on them being fairly open, so there will be multiple different ways of going through things, and there will be sort of multiple areas, or there will be multiple different paths that may or may not all lead where you need to go. So generally each section, like for example the mountains will have a single entry and exit to the main level itself, but there will be multiple paths through the actual level. So this is the beginning of my game. Like I said, if you've got any questions or any feedback or anything like that, please leave them below. If you'd like to see more updates, follow me on Twitter, which is where I post most updates. And like I said, hopefully there will be another video coming out in the next week. Hope you enjoy. Can't wait to start making some real progress and have some interesting things to actually show. I know there's not really a lot in this video, but I just wanted to make a quick video sort of introducing the game itself and sort of where this series was going to go. So yeah, hopefully coming up there will be some work on some basic NPCs and having them throw the ball for the player. That's not a main feature, but it's just something cool that I sort of really wanted to implement. It's a bit of a learning experience as well. And then some more work on the sort of forest area, and I also plan on doing a little bit of work on the mountains. And then sort of further down the track is hopefully more work on the actual character itself, like the dog. The movement is like a really big thing for me. I want it to feel really good. I want it to sort of act like a real dog, or as close to a real dog as I can. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.